Yeah, something you guys
celebrating.
home services space. Again, that's a broad industry. There's a lot of industries included into that. I was less concerned with the type of product and the type of materials, and I was more interested in looking at companies and the franchises themselves. And early on, I had found that Brothers presented themselves as a developed franchise coming from a management and organizational background. I picked up right away that they have put a lot of thought and effort into their products, their onboarding process, their recruiting methods. All of their literature and just articles seemed pretty developed. Again, somebody has put quite a bit of time and effort and resources into that in an effort to, build up that franchise. And then during the onboarding process, ultimately, I signed with them. I've continued to see that same level of resource input where I've met several individuals, and my just impression is top to bottom, they seem like an organization that's put together, and they have resources available for nearly every type of question. They have a person there that's very experienced and can answer those questions, whether it's you're someone new starting out or you're a much more developed franchise owner.
Yeah, and we've heard that time and time again. You're one of several candidates we've had that have moved forward with the Brothers opportunity, and culture is another thing that we've heard time and time again from those same candidates. So not surprised, happy to hear it though, and glad to hear that your onboarding process is going well. And I think you told us earlier before we started recording that target launch is April.
Yeah, target launch is April. A lot has to happen in order for that to go smoothly. I have a little bit of a condensed window, so I'm trying to get through as much of it as I can, especially some of the easy stuff that you could wait on. I'm just trying to knock that out now. But some of the bigger stuff, buying equipment, hiring crews, is still a little bit of a question mark. We're not quite ready to jump into those waters quite yet, but I know that it's coming, and a lot of that launch will hinge on having some of those bigger pieces in place and ready to go.
All right, without further ado, you've got some packages there. Let's open them up.
I have two here. Any particular order you want these opened up?
I forget what we sent you.
So it's
one is a blue one, and one is just a paper wrapped.
So let's open the big one first. Yeah,
the big one. Okay, you got it.
And I'm really just here for the ride, guys. So you probably won't see me much.
I was gonna say we just jumped right in.
Yeah, I'm basically just helping to support this initiative with all the other aspects of what we do as a couple, and kind of really excited for Scott. I'm really excited. He spoke very highly of Brothers Gutters, and we talked a lot about this initiative and goals. So I'm pretty excited for him as well. So I wanted to make sure I was part of it today.
But I'm going to tell you, when the spouse isn't on board, there's nothing. You have to be on the same page, and so we love that you guys did this together.
Yeah, I'm probably a big part of the delay, to be honest with you, because it took a minute to convince me, and that was probably part of the reason it was more delayed. So, but once we kind of talked through it, it made sense, and I actually think they're really, really lucky to get Scott. He's a very hardworking individual, super intelligent, super bright. And I think they landed a good one, but I'm a little biased.
Oh, I love that. And on Valentine's Day.
Yes. And that shouldn't be overlooked either. This, we've been married for, how many years have we been married? 12, 10, something along those lines. We've been together forever. We're high school sweethearts. So the years don't matter, right? We can just gloss over the number of years. But yeah, when there's a life change like that, being on the same page, and it was a little bit of figuring out what do we want to do? Obviously, what do I want to do? But what do we want to do? Do I just want to take the first job that comes along? And it slowly became a no. That's not what we were really looking for. And it did take some time to figure that out. And then ultimately, like I've said before, it turns into a little bit of a game of chicken. Well, how long are you really willing to wait and really stay true to your "I want to do something different" mantra, as opposed to, you're going back to what banking and hanging gutters and being a franchise owner is two totally different worlds. So it became a little bit about how committed really are you to this. And in the end, I think after Heidi and I kind of discussed it, that's what we chose to do, and we were willing to ride it out and go through the research process. I believe I've told you this, Matt, that I went through the recruiting process twice with franchises. I met with a franchise recruiter once before. We didn't land on anything, but I think at that time my mind wasn't as made up or developed on what I wanted to do. It was just kind of throwing that fish and lure into the water and let's just kind of see, but it really didn't kind of capture my attention maybe as well as it could have had it been the second time. But I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't have as sharp of an idea on the home services world. We were looking at financial industries and financial services, consulting, just a lot of different things, but it just, again, none of it really lit that sort of fire idea that this is something that I want to chase. So in the end, after an elongated timeline, then you go through the research process and the vetting process, and that takes time. So like I said, it turns into a little bit of a game of chicken with yourself a little bit, and it's easy to bail out. It really is. You get the LinkedIn notifications and you see somebody's looking for a banker or whatever, and it's like, oh, that would be easy, but easy isn't necessarily what I wanted.
Oh, I love that.
And you said that really well, because number one, like, this is a big life change, a big life decision. So of course it's going to take time, right? But second to that is, a lot of times, people that we talk to on a regular basis, it is the easy route to go and get that corporate job and stick to that W-2, but then you become handcuffed to it. And, so many people want this, but when that carrot gets dangled, they go back to the corporate world, and then we end up hearing from them a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
Miserable.
And they regret it, because I tell everybody this: the best time to start a business is yesterday. You can't go back to yesterday and do it. So today's the next best day, because every single day that you wait is a day gone. Like, we have a finite amount of time on this earth, each and every one of us, right? And so all you're doing is shortening that runway every single day that you wait. So it's a big decision. You got to take your time with it, but kicking a can down the road a year or 2 years is never the end.
Yeah, it comes to find out, one of the local banks that I interviewed with, very, very similar to the bank that I came from, they are on the next trajectory of being bought out or sold. They are beginning to move people around. A new president has come in. He is known for merging banks. And it's just like, had I taken a position there, jumped right back into the same thing I was doing, and 3-4 years from now, I'm now sitting in the same seat saying, I invested all that time and effort into an organization, then it just results in, hey, thanks for playing. Here's a little severance. Good luck. That's going to sting. I'm 45. I don't have a ton of quote years left. I do, but I've spent a lot of years in banking. I would be disappointed. I look back and say, well, what if I tried it? You know what? And I'm a risk adverse individual, and this is a fairly risky proposition, at least I think in my eyes. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, and I certainly hope that isn't the case, I'm going to try my best not to. Saying at least I tried it and I had the nerve and the guts to do it, which a lot of people look back, I think, sometimes and say, I wish I would have done the thing. And it could be jobs, it could be boyfriends, girlfriends, relationships. It could be taking the big trip that you thought you couldn't afford. It could be anything, So you're putting yourself out there. And like I said, that tree branch looks awfully thin sometimes, when you're hanging from it.
Well, as they say, you got to live your dash, right? There's a beginning, there's an end. You got to live your dash. And, this
all
is
right. We ready for gifts here? All right. So the first one you mentioned this looks like a little, let me show you here, a little cooker, like an old outdoor, fire cooker type thing. What is this?
It is a fire pit, yes. So pull it open. There's something etched on it as well.
Oh, ignite your future. There you go. That's clever.
Clever, right?
So have you ever seen the Solo stoves, or do you own one?
I don't own one. I've seen commercials, I think, for them, but I thought they were. Do they make really big ones?
They have the really big ones.
Yeah.
So
we love
we have one. We love it. youngest daughter loves it because she does s'mores over it, but it's smokeless, so it doesn't have this like smoke that a fire pit puts off. I don't know how it works. It's crazy, but they're fantastic.
Cool. We will definitely put this to
get that started. Thank you guys.
Yeah, we like to enjoy our deck out back, and we have a beautiful behind the house. The sunset's like right behind the house, so that's going to be a good addition to that. All right, next box here is more of like a present box. Oh, there's lots in here. Let's see if I can.
Great.
It's a s'more kit. It's a s'more kit.
We're going to do this. All right.
Hang on. That was so they could make s'mores.
I got ahead of myself.
This is perfect
Yeah,
for today, since it's the day of love. We'll have to get that started tonight.
There's some little wood
time.
chips in here, and little pokers for your marshmallows. And this is, I don't know what this is.
I think that's the fire starters.
It's the fuel for the fuel for the fire. And this, I think, is one of those confetti.
Oh, this is happening.
Are you going to cover my office in confetti?
Well, it's streams. It's not little ones.
Yeah, so you actually get off easy because those are really long strings. They're really easy to pick up. We, unfortunately, somehow gave ourselves the tiny confetti pieces. And so, yeah.
So we're going to celebrate. So.
Okay.
Congratulations on
Careful,
brother.
Shadow.
We're excited for you guys. And this isn't goodbye either. I'm going to be keeping in contact as we go through the process. But let's get this thing started right. So
Ready?
Okay. So twist.
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Woo! Wow, that was really loud.
It is. It always shocks people.
We're so happy for you guys. We really are. So in all honesty, it's not everybody can do it. Only the strong survive, and you guys are going to do it together. It's very inspirational, and we're just happy for you. So we wanted to celebrate.
You're with a really solid organization, so you're going to have a lot of support, and just lean on that as you need it. Lean on those franchise owners
And
too.
us.
Yeah, and us.
And spread the word.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's been something like for me. I'm typically the one in the room with the ideas and driving the bus. That's kind of been my forte in banking, is taking a lower performing group of people, whether it's 4 to 25, whatever it is, and getting them up to what I consider a standard, and then hopefully, above that. And typically I don't necessarily have a lot of help or resources to do that. I'm the one that's supposed to be the resource, but here it's different. I'm the one being instructed. I mean, just the other day we were talking about what to name my franchise, what territory name, and I live in Chambersburg, so I'm thinking, it's going to be Brothers Gutters of Chambersburg. Well, it turns out the marketing, there's a heavier marketing presence south of me in Hagerstown, which is in Maryland. And I don't know Hagerstown real well. I know of it, but I don't know the ins and outs of the city. And at first I thought, well, I don't want Hagerstown, I want Chambersburg. And then I caught myself saying, who am I to tell them what to name it? I am totally uneducated on this. So I basically said, whatever you think, let's do it. And then I simply moved on, so yeah, I do have to sort of wrap your head around, this could be something else to discuss about with other potential new franchise owners, is this is a different environment, and things like, asking for help is not something I'm great at. I always think I can do it myself and I can figure it out.
I see Heidi down there.
I'm always the one, that has the idea and I can do it me. But the reality is, why reinvent the wheel? They've already reinvented all the wheels I'm gonna hit, or issues I should say, or challenges they've already figured out. There's nothing really unique about Chambersburg and Hagerstown, Pennsylvania and Maryland. It just isn't, so yeah, so getting your head wrapped around totally rethinking your approach, and like I said before, I'm very risk adverse. I like knowing the answers. I like having data and analytics, and I like to think about it. And this is not that. There is just times where you have to say it's good enough, or I feel comfortable enough about it, and you have to move on, or you'll just get stuck in the mud. It's just,
We are
You know.
going to take this whole video and we're going to chop it up and post this everywhere. It's music to my ears.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what I wanted, something different. And I like new challenges. I like the newness of it, but you don't always get all of the ancillary benefits of things that you already know. It's just like yesterday, I looked at an old beat up truck. It has a gutter machine in it. I'm thinking, is this a good purchase or not? And then in the same day, I'm thinking about marketing concepts. Like I know nothing about website search optimization. I'm thinking, it's a totally different train of thought. And then 2 hours later, I'm thinking about writing an employee handbook and what do I do about paid time off, or am I offering health insurance? And it's just like you're getting pulled in 1,000 different directions, and you're never going to get it all. You're never going to figure them all out. Sometimes you're just going to have to say, I'm just going to have to take the risk, whether it's, small risks are easy to take, but the bigger ones, but you have to keep moving. And that's the idea of being the small business owner, is there is a 60, 40, 70, 30 proposition in there. It's never the 99 to 1, situation. And if it is, you're probably spending too much time on data and analytics and getting that comfort level, because you'll just get stuck in analysis what is that, the paralysis by analysis situation. And you can't do that here, especially because I'm on a short timeline.
100% why I've loved being an entrepreneur my whole career is, every day is different. Every day presents a different challenge. You get to figure things out. It's also why I've always preferred doing startups versus buying somebody else's business. I love the challenge of creating and building something, and there's really no greater feeling than 5, 10, 15 years down the road, taking a step back and being like, man, I built that. Yes, it was with the help of my franchisor, but I built that in my community. And, here I took an X investment, turned it into a Y return. It's exceptionally rewarding to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And that's something else too. I know, babe, you haven't really talked too much, but I'm taking all the time up. But just yesterday too, getting your head wrapped around the company culture and what you find important, and something that I want to try and do is have some element of a charity or a charitable contribution involved with the company somehow. Maybe that's employing somebody who needs a little bit of help. Maybe they're struggling to a certain extent with something. I met with a lady yesterday who she deals with vets, and she caters to helping vets transition out of the military back into civilian life. And there are some struggles there with financial literacy, emotional support. She creates places where they can go and just kind of hang out. I thought it'd be cool to maybe get hooked up with them in some degree, maybe offer work or employment to someone who just needs a job, so.
That's fulfilling to be able to give back to your community. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's strange because I'm typically not an overly charitable, person. I'm sure Heidi's going to smile here. I can be a little cold. I can be a little, those folks need to, figure it out on their own. But it's like, well, I get to set all the rules now. I get to create what the company,
culture,
what that direction, looks like. And then I'm sure as this whole entire process has been, your current thought process is going to be different a week, a month, 6 months from now. Your vision is going to change. You can only absorb and compound it and compress it so quickly, so fast. So who knows, maybe a couple months, I would say, I don't have time for any of that. I only have time for growing the business and making money. I hope that's not the case, but the vision now, and even when we're first starting out, I'm sure, Matt, you see this all the time where someone has this idea and you're like, well, I can tell they're really, really young in their thought process in doing this.
Yeah, for sure. And to your point, whether it's brothers or whatever the business is, ideas are meant to change, right? Goals are meant to change. And it's good to have them because you've got a target. But then as you're in it, living it, breathing it, things are going to change because you're going to learn things that you don't know today.
Yeah. You had mentioned that you had a couple other folks that were signing on with brothers or in the process. I like the idea of forming a little group where we could talk and just kind of bounce some ideas off of folks that are in a very similar position. I
thought I already sent that, but if I didn't, I'll make sure to do that today. I'll make a mutual email introduction to all of you guys. Yeah,
I think it would be good. Just, some of the things we're working on, other owners have already tackled, and they're probably not overly likely to really engage us. I know the brothers makes it sound like, yeah, the other owners will help you out, but I mean, other than the organized calls from brothers, if an owner called me right now, I would basically say, I don't have time for that person. I have my own things to work. I have my own things to, tackle. So it might be good for us to kind of come up as a similar group and bounce some of those ideas off. So I think that'd be great.
I'll get that done. We've got a couple of things we've got to do here, but whenever I get done, I'll make sure you get it today.
Yeah, good.
You have to
Yes.
up.
Thank you all so much for
Okay.
Good luck with everything. We're excited for you guys.
Congratulations.
Heidi, it was nice.
Thank you guys.
And Scott, I'll be in touch.
Have a
All
happy
right, sounds good. Yes, really appreciate the time today.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Listen, click the links below. We're here to help if you have any questions. We're not going to bug you. We're not crazy. We're very friendly people, and we're just going to help.
Well, at least one of us are.
We're here to help.